Hello and welcome to release question number 1 for the Algebra 1 CST questions. This is release question 1 in a set of 96 release questions. I would highly recommend that before you start these questions you would actually go to this website and print these out for yourself, or at least have them up on a screen. Try these problems yourself first before you actually watch me do them. The ones that you need help on, watch those ones. So I'm Mr. Wagner, ready to guide you through question number 1 here, as well as the other 95 questions. You can watch as many of these as you need to, as many times as you need to. Ah, the beauty of YouTube. So let's get started here with number 1. Here's what it says. It says, is the equation 3 times the quantity 2x minus 4 equal to negative 18 equivalent to 6x minus 12 equals negative 18? And so we've got our 4 choices here. Let's go through these 4 choices and see if we can figure out which one it is. So choice A, yes, the equations are equivalent by the associative property of multiplication. So we need to know what that means. What's the associative property of multiplication? Yes, the commutative property, choice B. Yes, the distributive property, and then it gets kind of fancy and it says of multiplication over addition. We'll talk about that in a second. Or D, no, they're not equivalent. So what do these 3 things mean? I'm going to show you in these videos sometimes a little bit more than what you need to actually solve the problem. This one, a lot of you might be looking at this and saying, oh, I know the answer already. Hey, that's great. But if you don't know what these things mean, and a different question, not quite like this, pops up on a test, then you're going to run into some trouble. So this is also great review for even if you're not taking this CST test. If you're in another state, or you're just getting ready for a final exam, or you're just wondering what Algebra 1 is all about, great videos to you watching here. But associative property, here's what that looks like. This is associative property of addition. You can say something like this with some parentheses in here. So I could say, I could add these 2 together first. Let me make that second parentheses a little better. There we go. Or I could add these 2 together first. Remember, with parentheses, we want to do what's in parentheses first. So when I think of associating with somebody, I think of being kind of teamed up with them, something like that. So notice A and B are kind of teamed up here together first. They're going to be added together first, and then that sum will be added to C. But it doesn't make a difference. The associative property of addition, at least, says that you can add these 2 things together in different orders. You can add B and C first, and then add it to A, and it's going to equal the same thing. For multiplication, it's just like that, except you have multiplication in between. So we use the dot for multiplication rather than the x, because the x for us stands for a variable most of the time in algebra. So we can say that this is true as well. Now, does this look like that? No, it doesn't look like that's what's going on. So choice A, I'm going to cross that out. The commutative property. Now, I think with the commutative property, the way I remember it is that I commute back and forth to work. And so if I did A plus B, that's the same thing as going from A to B, is the same thing as going back from B to A. So it's not a perfect analogy, but I think it makes the point that I need to make, that if you add A plus B together, that's the same as switching the order and kind of starting at B and going back to A. Instead, that works for multiplication as well. So A times B is equal to B times A. And so does that look like what we have going on here? Something times something, because this is for multiplication, something times something. Did we just switch the order in which things were multiplied? No. Distributive property then, and getting fancy with it, of multiplication over addition. What does that all mean, or what does that all look like? That just says if you have some number times a quantity added together, that's multiplication over division. We can take this, distribute it through. A gets multiplied by each piece, meaning you have something like this in the end. Did we take something like this 3 here, hint hint, and multiply it by each piece in here to get this equation right here, 6x? That'd be 3 times 2x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Does that equal negative 18? Sure does. So choice C looks like the correct choice. Yes, the equations are equivalent, so choice D is incorrect. So we've effectively eliminated the wrong choices, got the right one. Number 1 is choice C.